Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Fitbaw Cast. Welcome. Episode 25. This time I have not pre-written any intro because seeing as the last couple of times I fucked it up anyway, I thought, I'm just going to blather and probably mess it up again. So hey, nothing's any worse than what it normally is. Right, so this time round, what are we going to blather about? Going to hone in on the top of the draft. Cap's lost it already. You're like, House Wrath, you can't host this for shit.
Host Wrath.
Yeah, I forgot about my previous nickname, Dwarf Wrath. I can't even remember what context.
I feel like any time I see your name now, I just see a different word at the start.
And then Wrath, yeah.
And just Wrath at the end. The angry, it was about me being a short ass and being an angry dwarf, eh? That's how it appeared from. Anyways, so, topics of convo this time round. We're going to have a wee blather about the teams that are currently sitting at the top of the draft for next year and what went wrong, particularly the Jags being the major one out of them that's kind of opened my eyes for sure. I was updating the divisional preview stuff on the site the other day, and I had me and you, Andrew, had them winning the division, and Gav, you had them second. You'd put Tennessee ahead of them, but Christ, none of us are going to be anywhere close. Neither going on.
Nope.
So we're going to hone in on that for a bit. We may segue into teams that have kind of turned their seasons round. Colts, Browns, and Broncos probably actually seem to be on the ascendancy now, which is led in by a really interesting stat that Andrew has acquired for us.
Yeah, but it's on my phone, and my phone's being used to record the podcast, so you guys will have to pull it up for me.
Thankfully you put it in the chat. I'll be able to find that. Mind-blowing, it doesn't even come close when I actually seen this. It was something else.
Get to that later on.
And then I think we're going to take a wee 5 minutes at the end, particularly to blather about the whole Reuben Foster fiasco and Kaepernick blackballing. So stay tuned for that. So, quick introduction. Who is with me this week? It's the same two as normal.
Hey!
Introduce yourself, folkies.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner and...
some cunt off the street.
It's a great lineup we've got today.
Oh dear.
We are a shambles.
High polish quality. Well, you did give me a 2-day lead-in. In fact, that it was my turn to host and get a schedule organised. And when did I organise this?
Well, I also asked you half an hour ago. Did you have anything organised?
Like, not really. Just kind of what we talked about last night, and nothing was material.
I feel like a little bit of hypocrisy here, Steve. I think you always give me a hard time when it's my turn to host. How I always forget. And now
you just forget what episode number it is yours host, even though it's the same routine every 3 episodes.
3 times table is difficult.
Yeah. I'll get my daughter to help you out with that.
Yeah, if you could.
Right, so let's get into it then. So, who is currently top of the pecking order in the draft? It is the 49ers, is it?
Yeah, it is the 49ers.
Or is it?
No, it's the
49ers on tiebreak. Oh yeah, because Cards have beat them twice.
Yeah.
And Oakland, interestingly, have jumped into third, have they not?
Yep, that's right.
How is that hell? How have they managed this? This pickles. Is it because they beat the Cardinals? And then the Cardinals have beat the 49ers?
It all comes down to strength of schedule at the end of the year, doesn't it?
So that's a really awkward thing where you can't figure it out in your head. You have to rely on somebody else working it out because it's mathematical X, Y, and Z.
Because remember, last year actually it was the Raiders and the Niners had to have a coin toss for their draft picks because they were tied in results and then they were tied on strength of schedule as well.
Yes. Which is a bit weird. So I think there was another tie. I want to say there was 2 coin flips this year.
Was there?
But no, I can't quite remember off the top of my head.
I can only remember that one. Being aware of that one anyway.
Yeah.
So the teams with 2 wins are just all a shit show, yeah?
Yeah.
The Niners are the better team.
To me, there's one that has just been unfortunate.
And that's the Niners.
Right? Yeah, with the whole Jimmy G thing. However,
and the running backs times 2.
Jared McKinnon was buggered. But to throw a bit of fuel on that fire, the fact that Berther came in and performed okay.
Yep.
And Mullins? Nick Mullins?
Nick Mullins,
his name, who came in for his first game anyway and did outstanding.
Yep.
Is there a wee bit of an argument about scheme and how the fact that, or is it just a whole Shanahan thing? He's managed to get three quarterbacks, 2 of which shouldn't really be starting.
Yeah, was that
more than capable?
So Bethard was what, 3rd or 4th round? I think Mullins was even more than that.
I think Berther, unfortunately, is going to be a career
Mullins
backup.
was undrafted. Was he
undrafted?
He was
he?
undrafted, I think.
Yeah, so
I
I think you're right. I think Shanahan probably does deserve a lot of credit. I think we already knew how good he was offensively.
Yeah. Well, no denying you'd rather have Jimmy G in there calling the shots.
Oh, absolutely. But
I think we talked about this earlier in the season. Was Jimmy G really all that was cooked up to be with his running last season? I think he totally timed in a career run well and cashed in big time in the off season.
Yeah, I think the 49ers have just been really unfortunate. So that, when your star quarterback goes down, you then tend to rely on your running back to carry your offense. Your running back that you paid money for goes down,
busts his knee in preseason, so you don't even have your number one guy.
Yeah, so it's like.
Yeah, and then the replacement went down as well after playing very well to start with.
Yeah, Sherman was injured for a good chunk of the season.
Sherman missed a couple of games.
You called that out earlier on when we were doing the weekly roundup through all the games. It was definitely that we were talking about.
They've been,
injuries have kind of hit them.
They've been quite unlucky, I think, and I do think next year they'll be
bounce back.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with Lynch as GM so far.
Yeah,
I quite like what he's done.
And the trenches, they're good. Their defensive line's awesome.
Yeah, the D line's really nice and stacked. It's quite nice.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do, because going by how they've done last year, if they have a good off season in terms of free agency as well, then they could be in a hunt for a wild card or a playoff spot. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, we thought they'd be thereabouts this year.
Season. Yeah.
And obviously they have been
albeit
horrendously
suffering
unlucky,
with
but
the division they're in, because their division they're in has turned upwards yet again.
Yeah, I mean the Seahawks have been much better than we anticipated they would be.
Yeah.
But they do have a proper basement side, and they lost twice to them. I mean that's pretty inexcusable.
Yeah. When I was in the division roundups, all 4 of us pegged the Seahawks as 4th. Yeah. And I was just like, well, that's quite funny, because we had legitimate reasons for it at the time. And they have definitely outperformed what the 3 of us thought.
Yeah, I think everyone sort of ripped them off at the start of the season.
Crap O-line, we don't know who's running for them, they've got no hope, they've lost all their defence. That was the general consensus.
Yeah.
And
a big part. So for me, in pre-season, the Rams were winning it comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
I then saw the Niners as being second in this division quite comfortably, and then a toss-up basically between the Cardinals and the Seahawks. But the Cards
even then, you wouldn't have put. Well, let's lead into the Cards then. You wouldn't have put them at only 2 wins.
No, you wouldn't.
There's no way. Roster talent. We had no idea what Wilkes was like or was going to be like. But generally speaking, talent on your roster isn't awful.
Yeah, so at the start of the season we had Sam Bradford, who I think, regardless of how things went,
he was made of chocolate.
Well, but no, he wasn't. It wasn't injury. It was just that
he was rubbish.
Was he rubbish or was Mike McCoy rubbish?
Both were rubbish.
No, here's the
because
not that you can go back from Rosen now, because he's in and you may as well give him the time because the season's lost. But if you were in one of these sort of 500 teams, and if you went back to Bradford, how would Bradford do with Leftwich helping them now?
Yeah, I still think there's
a bit of an argument
huge questions over the receiving talent that is there. Obviously, Larry Fitz is Larry Fitz. Christian Kirk looks okay.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, there's very little.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Seals-Jones is okay as a receiving tight end, but still,
he's not blown up this season.
No, last year he's done better.
You were totally singing his praises in pre-season.
He finished last season really strong, and this year he's just not hit that level. But I think everyone can see it, and it has changed. But why did they take so long to get David Johnson the touches that he needs to get going?
That is mind-boggling.
Like, it makes no sense when you've got a talent that good to almost limit their role in your offense.
The Giants did it on Sunday. Did anyone watch the Giants-Eagles?
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
Right, unreal. First half was like
most one-sided
show. Absolute domination. It was, 346 yards by half time. Then they got 60 in the second half. Between Odell Beckham and Saquon Barkley, the two of them come in and got 7 touches in the second half.
Yeah, bizarre.
They just changed it playing away. I don't get it. It made no sense. And that's almost like that's a sort of microcosm of what happened in Arizona.
Is the Giants are at a point of the season where it's almost not beneficial to win.
Yeah, may as well lose out and stock up again. Eh?
Was it a deliberate?
Nah.
Got to half time. We've just got I don't think any team.
Not in that.
I don't think that any team loses on purpose. I think the whole suck for luck thing. It was a big joke about how Indy were deliberately flaming. So the 1 year that Manning was injured, so they could get Andrew Luck and have their guy for the next 12, 15 years or whatever. I don't think any team
that game specifically as well.
To lose.
They were 2 games behind the top spot. 3 games behind the top spot. But if they win that, it changed the full dynamic of the division.
Yep, true.
So
it's such a tight division, that one.
So they could have.
They still mathematically could win.
Yeah, they're not out.
They're not out of the equation completely.
So if you win that game, they would have went to 4-6. No,
4-7.
4-7.
Yeah.
And they would have been 2 games behind with a divisional win. So I don't think they would have flamed out in that game. That's not the game to flame out in.
Yeah,
no.
I think it's
week 17, and
what I don't understand even more than that is Pat Shurmur is supposed to be like a really good offensive mind, and surely he'd be like, guys, what the fuck is going on here?
It was bizarre. But that kind of we jumped away from Arizona there to blether about them, but that's where we were going. Did the same thing happen in Arizona? So Dave Johnson, he was. Do you know off the top of your head, carry wise, roughly what he was getting beginning of the season, and has it increased?
No idea.
We don't quite know the numbers.
I don't know the numbers.
The perception is that he's getting the ball a lot more now than he was at the beginning of the year. Yeah,
I think if I remember rightly, I think he wasn't getting a lot of actual running yards. I don't think they were playing the run a whole lot at the start of the season. There was a lot of pass.
So they're doing the Kamara thing with him, trying to get him out of the back.
I think so. That's off the top of my head, but I could be wrong. Yes, it's a strange one in Arizona. How 2-3 seasons ago in the playoffs, a really strong team.
NFC Championship
2015,
game.
So it is 3 seasons ago. NFC, it was Championship game.
Yeah, I mean that's
a quick demise.
That is a massive swing.
Yes. So Johnson's carries, attempts at rushing 9 in week 1, 13, 12, 22, 18, 18, 14, 16 by week, 21, 25. Then 17 against the Chargers there.
Yeah, right. But you were trailing in that game, so that's that was a really weird game because you were up in that game, and then for whatever reason
we were 10-0 up in the first quarter, and then didn't score another point. Lost. Was it 42-10 in the end?
Was that a weapon?
That is what you call a fucking shambles.
That was pretty poor.
Unhappy Cardinals fan sitting right here.
Yes.
You've actually been sort of champing about is it Steve Keim?
Steve Keim.
Keim, about how is it his time? Is he done?
Well, this is whisperings I'd seen on Twitter and things. Is
from Andrew. From me.
All from me.
Originated at that one at the AF cast. Who are those fuckers again?
Well, I mean, you look at where the organisation was in 2015 and you look at where it is now, and the front office has to take some of the blame for that, you would think. I mean, what...
Could you? I mean, you could even just make it simple and pin the fact that there's been no improvement in the O-line on the front office.
Yes.
And the people they have brought in to try and help with that just hasn't worked.
Yeah, they did try this year eventually. It took long enough, but...
And then he injured himself.
Yeah, and then...
That was a massive contract they gave Pugh as well.
Yeah, for a guy that has huge injury problems, that seemed a bit of a weird decision as well.
Yeah.
We'll see if he manages next season as well. I'm talking about Pugh manages next season. Not only Keim could be in the sticky wicket too.
I think Keim will have more time. As I said,
generally get one more season because head coaches generally get a 2-year cycle. It's rare they're only one and done. Very rare.
I think if Wilkes doesn't pan out, GM might be gone as well because it's
has called. The only thing that makes me think that Keim will get longer than he should is how long he's been with the organisation.
Well, he said
he has been
20 years or something.
He's been with the Cardinals since 1999.
Do you think they'll just do what they did with like Ted Thompson and Green
just
Bay?
move them sideways.
Just move you, kind of. You're not going to be right in the front line anymore, but you've got a job
office,
for life. Here's your office. It's down the road now.
Well, possibly. I mean, I think he's come from being a scout up through the ranks into.
So he's done everything.
Player recruitment, head of personnel, and into GM.
I think when you think of it as well, actually, so there's the whole stuff that happened with the Honey Badger. That looks like a bit of a fuck up.
I don't know. I'm not as.
Nah, I think he was playing lights out for the Cardinals. I think he should have got paid. I think he should.
Yeah, but he was. He was getting daft money though. Was he not?
He was due ridiculous money.
I think he had the
cards. I know what you're saying. I
think he had the cards over a barrel.
Yeah,
it's like not as bad as the Lev Bell situation, but I think the cards should have been made.
Don't talk about him. We said
no. We need
to.
We've seen his tweet.
I think it's not going to get mentioned.
Instagram account.
Sorry, yeah. So we'll talk about that later. Actually, but I do think that was the way he was playing with the Cardinals. I think there was a reason to pay him, not the crazy money, but you could have negotiated.
I don't think he would have continued that level of performance because I think a lot of his performance came from Bruce Arians because I think he knew how to manage him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he was a bit of a... But then Steve Wilkes was the guy that managed Josh Norman into what Josh Norman was at Panthers. So actually, true. I know they're slightly different positions, but if you want someone that's going to be good at that, you would imagine he would be someone he could have learned from. I just think that was... When you're looking at question marks over the front office, that's another question mark.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, he was one of the standout players on defence. I'm not sure it's a huge... We had this argument in pre-season that I didn't think it was a massive loss because of Buddy Baker. And I still stand by that. I don't think...
Do you think that... I can't say that I know enough off the top of my head, but what I'm thinking is, how much did Tyrone improve Pat Pete's performance compared to how much does Buddy Baker improve Pat Pete's performance?
I think Pat Pete needs another cornerback opposite him rather than having... I think he's on to his 8th partner now.
Yeah.
Bit of stability to help him.
Yeah. So he needs a stable opposite cornerback. We brought another guy in the summer. He's now gone. I mean, to be fair, when you're bringing people in from the 0-16 Browns, then it's not all that good. But yeah, I still stand by... I get what you're saying.
It's just a question mark, around... Yeah. I think when you look at the decisions that have been made recently by that team, Josh Rosen looks like a decent pick, but I think...
He looks like a decent pick for every backfield that faces him because they like to pick him.
Yeah, that's true. But which was going to...
He's a rookie.
Yeah, so there's enough there to say that was a good enough investment. But what I was going to lead on to is the rest of your drafts recently there's not been that many people where you're like, yep, we've banged on that one.
Yeah. I do think there's been 2 have come out. I think Rosen and Kirk.
Yeah, they look good.
Look like they'll be there for the long term. But yeah, it's a bit of a struggle at the moment.
Another team that is sort of struggling. Well, they are struggling. The Raiders.
Yeah, no, we've played about them a few times.
It's a weird
they've
struggle.
Had a hell of a season, really. I don't think I've seen a team in as much disarray.
Is it disarray?
Well, that's what it
I
seems.
think it's almost
organised chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gruden has got them in full rebuild mode.
Yes. Yeah. But how... So one of the questions is how much control does he really have? Because you get the feeling that he maybe didn't get much of a say in the whole Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack trades. Because if he's thinking about longer term, he probably wants to hold on to them. I'm going to rebuild my team, yeah. I've got to keep Carr, I'm going to keep Mac, no questions asked. And then he'll maybe pick a couple other people. And he says, but the rest of them we can turn around and go for it in a couple of years.
I don't know. I think, actually, for somebody to get paid as much as he got paid, he's not coming there unless he knows... Because his reputation's on the line here. If he comes back and this is a shambles...
Yeah, no one... That's him, he's done. Yeah, no one will get him again.
So,
I mean, he can go back to the broadcast.
Yeah, he'll do that.
He'll not be first.
But I don't think he doesn't come across as the type of person where he's going to be happy with that. I think he is a winner. And that's why I think that actually he must have had some sort of strategy around about this, or that he would have been engaged enough to say, is this, for example, do you want an extra first round pick for Amari Cooper? I don't think it would have been as the GM saying we're doing that, and he'd be like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I think there would have been conversations there enough to say for him to be involved.
We've got 3 first rounders next year now, eh?
And that's why I think that he's
juicy.
He'll then view this as, okay, so I've got my rebuild year. This is where I'm getting rid of everything. Next year I've got all my rookies, and it's year 3 when he's then judged.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, probably makes
I
sense.
wouldn't be surprised to see them trade further back.
Oh, absolutely!
Next year, and have the rebuild
multiple second.
That's what the Colts done. Yeah, that's what the Colts done in that last draft, and it's worked out pretty well for them.
Yeah, with 5 of the first 60 picks or something.
Yeah, and they just kept shipping back, and
it seems to have worked.
They absolutely smashed it. But going by this year's draft that the Raiders made, nobody seems to be really doing it, so I'd be worried.
Yeah, it depends where. I mean, if like Nick Bosa's sitting there for them, they'd probably go and take him rather than drop him back.
Well, Bosa's the favourite to go first. He's expected to go first overall. So
he'll be first. 49ers, they take him. So
which to me is a huge risk.
Yeah, injury.
I mean, we'll speak to that, I suppose, closer to the draft. But it's a huge injury risk to be taken overall first.
But I do like the idea of the Raiders dropping back and stocking up. Even if they go from 3 down to 6, but they gain an extra second round this year, and then they go from 10 down to 17, but they get an extra first round next year or something. Like the Browns had 2 really wild years of stocking up picks like nobody's business.
And if you've got a long-term strategy, which I would guess they do have by giving him that crazy contract, that's the sort of thing you need to do and you need to accept. But it's weird though. They've looked like they've improved the more talent they've shipped out.
Now, we've said that quite a lot of weeks that actually they were still hanging good until at least the third quarter, and it just kind of fell away at the end.
Yeah.
They seem to have been competing. We have kind of chat all over them quite often.
I think
they're maybe not the worst outfit in the league.
No. There's enough. I think there's enough of an ascendancy there. Maybe it's a bit of rust for Gruden as well, adapting to the game, because he hadn't actually coached for so long. So is it just the game had changed enough round about him?
He needed to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, so it's taken 10
There's
games
a
or
lot of
whatever.
vets he got rid of, and then you replace it. We said the last couple of weeks, when you replace that with young, hungrier talent,
chip on the shoulder.
They might not be as polished, but they're probably going to give you more effort.
Yep.
Which sounds really stupid, but it's I think it's fair to say.
Yep.
But yeah.
So on to the Jets. They're scheduled to be 4th.
God, right.
I'm going to call it out.
Yeah, go for it.
Todd Bowles has gone on Black Monday. He's definitely gone. There's no way he stays.
I think regardless of they've picked the guy, I think they're happy enough in Darnold, albeit he's having the total rookie. Yeah. He started off well
up and down.
It's fallen off because teams have schemed against it and got wise to it, and
because of
throwing picks left, right, and
badly their defense is playing.
Think the names on that defense. There's one player who's the boy you dropped in the chat, the Twitter thing. It was Jamal Adams. Who put the block in. Ruined the guy coming out. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, Jamal Adams is good. You've got Leonard Williams. You've got Tremaine Johnson.
Name-wise, they should actually be okay in the defense, but they're not.
Just getting obliterated. It's not even like what was the Bills put 40 points on them?
The Bills?
Jesus.
So the stats you mentioned that I had earlier was the quarterback hits allowed in November. I've pulled that up, and it's actually I've got an average per game. So in November, the Jets are the worst. They have allowed 9.3 quarterback hits per game.
Oh my god,
that's not good.
And for a rookie, he's just sends him
blasted. Yeah.
So he's been hit 28 times.
So their O-line clearly needs a lot of help then.
Yep, that's not great.
Of the other struggling teams. So the Cardinals 3 games, 16 hits, so 5.3 hits per game.
So probably above what you want it to be, ideally.
It's middle of the road, though. It's very much middle of the road. The Raiders, 4 games, 31 hits on Derek Carr, 7.8 hits per game. And they are tied third.
Cole Miller's struggling. He's not.
A lot of people. I think was it Jason Witten. I think on one of the Raiders games was destroying how bad he was playing.
Really.
And Jason Witten, who's been pretty much a wet blanket.
Yeah. For him to think that he's so tough, he can come out and I'm gonna call this guy out, because if he says anything to me, I'll just push him over.
I think teams are targeting Colton Miller now. That's how bad he's doing.
Yeah. They had to change. They had to move the O-line help to help him out.
Yeah, which just causes a gap somewhere else.
Yeah, bingo. Yeah.
Because they've got Kelechi Osemele, I think that's how you say his name. Who was
still got it? Or did he not move on?
Did he go to the Ravens?
I think he moved on last year.
I think he's still there.
Is he? Okay. I can't remember off the top of my head.
And Donald Penn?
Donald Penn, yeah. But he's at the end
dropped
of his
off,
career.
yeah.
Yeah, he seems to have dropped off.
So
kind of struggling.
So the Jets in 3 games have allowed more quarterback hits in November than the Vikings, Saints, Colts and Browns combined.
Jesus.
So while we're on this subject, we'll go at the top end of these stats. Leading the way by quite a way is the Browns. So they've played 3 games in November. They've allowed 2 quarterback hits.
And that is your mind-blowing stat that we mentioned earlier on. I couldn't believe it when you dropped that.
In the last
Mayfield has so much time. So that's 3 games in November. 2 hits, 0.7 hits per game.
So 3 games since Hugh Jackson left?
There's no questions that not only that, but Baker Mayfield's play has been chalk and cheese.
Let's also think another thing that's happened in that, and I know this is maybe clutching at straws a little bit. Hugh Jackson leaves the Browns. Browns' offensive line improves. Yep. Baker Mayfield improves.
Yep.
Hugh Jackson joins the Bengals. The Bengals' defensive line doesn't improve. Andy Dalton's now on IR.
So the Bengals are very much middle of the road in this. So they've played 3 games in November, 15 hits, so 5 hits a game.
I know it's me just making it work for me, but I love it.
Yeah.
The second best team in terms of quarterback hits is the Colts, but we knew that their O-line was strong because
we talked about, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, where they had that streak where hadn't been sacked in nearly 5 whole games.
So he's only been hit 5 times in 3 games.
And you know what's funny about that? And again, I think we spoke about it before, but why did it take the Colts so long to think, shit, we need to fix our O-line when Luck has had these injuries? Yeah. And
I don't know.
It was just such a strange this is a problem. We're going to ignore it and hope it goes away.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll draft another wide receiver because that's what we need.
Yeah.
I think they went three or 4 years in a row drafting wide receivers. Yeah. Many of which are not even with the team anymore. I can't even tell you the name.
One that actually surprised me further down is the Rams. So we spoke about, there was a stat you came up with earlier in the season, Gav, which said
John Sullivan was the lowest performing player on the Rams offensive line, but he was the highest performing player at his position.
So in November they've allowed 6 hits on Goff.
So who have they played though? They've played the Saints,
Chiefs.
That Monday night game.
And who's the other team they've played? Seahawks.
Yeah.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
So
actually, that's pretty strong opposition.
Yeah, you're not playing think of Cameron Jordan as one of the best defensive ends in the league. So actually, you know what? And if all these games are high scoring, he's on the field more.
Yeah.
So you know what? There's arguments that could justify that, but I get the point.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah. That was an awesome stat.
Back to what we got 4 at the top 6
So the next one we have is the Giants. We're still in New York.
Yeah, we'll stay in New York and then we'll go down to Florida because Gav's about to tee off. So Giants. So Jesus, they've been a little bit chalk and cheese.
I don't understand that.
Fairly awful start. O-line issues. Manning was throwing up the most god-awful passes I think I've ever seen from him.
Has it just been summed up in the game that we've already discussed?
Yeah, it does.
First half, outstanding. Yeah. Second half, garbage.
Yeah, the week before Manning had gone 17 for 18. It's just
the more you put it in his arms, the more your game's script is going to change. So they need to give it to Saquon, let him run it, let him keep the defense. If he's going to
pass it, there's only one person in the team to fucking pass it to, right?
Yeah.
Give it to Odell Beckham.
There's not even though. Sterling Shepard's a good slot receiver. Yeah. Evan Ingram's a good tight end. He's not been as good this year, but
he's if he goes in the seam right, boom, he's guaranteed to get it almost.
What also doesn't make sense is that the Eagles secondary is destroyed. They're playing guys that off practice squads that weren't even on practice squads.
4 or 5 were out on Sunday, and you didn't take advantage of that. It just made no sense.
So what? And again, that game just the first half, give it to Saquon, let them keep that plan running. Mm-hmm. Let them think that you're going to keep running it, and wait till they start to stack the box, and then give all the Beckham your shots.
Yeah.
I'm not an offensive coordinator, but Jesus Christ, that's obvious and easy.
We know this with our skill level.
You know, you could.
These guys are getting paid $500,000 a year, and they can't fucking do it.
And you're like, Jesus, how can you not get this? What is there not to understand? It was insane. It was absolutely insane.
They've really not had the best of seasons. And that's doubling up on last year's awful season. And I mean, everyone was calling for Eli, and then of course they benched him, which was the wrong decision at the time.
Yeah,
because that just cemented the absolute chaos in New York that was obviously happening behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and Jesus,
it's just been one that they've just not addressed at all. They could have had a young quarterback learning from him whilst he was still good.
You're thinking like going back a couple of years, not just
exactly.
this year.
Yeah, so if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, maybe not as long as that, but get someone sitting behind him, just learning, picking up loads of things. I mean, he's won Super Bowls. He's not a mug. You're actually letting him learn off of someone that will go into record books, history books.
He's probably going to get a gold jacket, which you think is
at some point he will.
Bizarre.
He will.
I think it's bizarre, but
he's won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's probably going to speak more than anything else.
So it just seems silly that strategy hasn't been there for the Giants.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, so that's it. That's probably enough about them for now, I think.
So from one
awful
quarterback to another awful quarterback.
Here we go. Blake, one time. Let's
at least he's not a starting quarterback, though.
I don't. In fact, actually, before we get into the Jags specifically around their strategies and things like that, what about Fournette?
Jesus!
Oh, it was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was hilarious.
It was one of the best things to happen.
I seen. Well, of course, right, it's the play that happened before that, and there was the double catch. The cornerback and the wide receiver both had the ball at the same time, and then started hugging each other like it was some kind of weird video that you definitely don't want to watch.
Yeah, maybe you do.
Well, if you're that way inclined,
we don't discriminate on the F-cast.
Are you sure, Gav? I had to cut something out, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Guys, come on. Straight and narrow, come on.
Shit. What was that again? I've got sidetracked. Sidetracked by controversy.
So the contested catch, and
and they're lying on the ball, and they both have a hold of it.
And what was funny is the two teams just started punching each other, and these guys were still lying on the ground, holding
they'd stopped trying to wrestle it off each other. They were just holding it, and none of them were moving. And then so it's kind of half zooming in on this, and then I see Fournette flying over, and his fist going as well in the corner
from the Bills again.
Shaq Lawson.
Shaq Lawson. That's it.
Two of them went at it, and now Shaq's a young. Is he just rookie or is he year two?
Second year.
So he's young, so I'll give him a little. Oh, maybe it's Fournette. Maybe second year as well.
Yeah.
Right, so the rookie, so you can give them that on their side for it. But I just love how it was coming in. And I could see the way Fournette was going in. He goes, oh my God, that fist is going. And it's like in the corner, the fist is out. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Excellent. And then it pans round and they're like flipping, punching the helmet. Like a helmet. Take the helmet off before you hit the guy. Come on.
I can't remember who the commentators were, but it was just hilarious because they're like, we don't want to see this. This is ugly. And I'm like, everyone wants to see this.
I want to see more.
So you should bring in that ice hockey rule where if two people are going at it, everyone just backs back, they let them take the helmets off, and they go, right, go at it for a few minutes, guys, and then just chuck them in a sin bin. So get out the game for a quarter.
Yeah. So they then got ejected, and the two sets of teams officials decided that the best thing to do was to escort them to the players' tunnel, the same tunnel, because at this stadium they come out the same tunnel
at the same time.
At the same time.
And then they were at it again. They were so close. They were like 5 people were holding back for Fournette, and Lawson's like in the tunnel going like,
yeah. Surely what you do is you take one of them down and the other guys hang back and then take them down. But it was great entertaining.
Yeah, that's them applying the rule because it's like immediate ejection, get them off the field. But I think they actually thinking,
common
right,
sense.
wait a minute. Yeah, let's hang someone back.
Take another out 5 minutes later.
No, because they take them off at the opposite sides of I think they'd taken them around the different ends of the field.
So they'd gone to their own sidelines.
Yeah.
And then they made their way and came together back behind the goalposts.
Ridiculous. So ridiculous.
And then went at it again. Brilliant.
So Fournette is suspended. Yes.
which is not good considering where the Jags are and the fact that up until then he had something like 70-odd yards and 2 touchdowns. It was working. They fed him the ball, which is what they needed to do all season.
He is their only player on offense. Keelan Cole's been rubbish this year.
I was going to say, even
Donnie Moncrief's been rubbish.
Receiver that's jumped out and
which is, I think, the only one that's done half decent, and this is really clutching at straws again, is D.D. Westbrook, and I think
he's a rookie though, eh?
Yeah,
so he's got benefit that you get him, give him next year as well, and see whether that's working or not.
I think, they look in a bit of a shit place.
Yeah,
and it actually takes me on to another thing. What was the point in them taking? Well, obviously the point now, but Carlos Hyde. That didn't make any sense at the point either.
Has he played much? I don't even remember his name being called at any time I've ever seen.
He'll play obviously the next few weeks, but I don't think...
Fournette was struggling with injury and has persistently struggled with injury since coming into the league.
But Yeldon wasn't playing bad enough to go...
He'd also picked up an injury at that point as well, had he not?
So what was it? So it was more it was cover for position more than anything else.
So think, I don't know what... They probably didn't give up much. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was maybe a fifth
rounder. Yeah, I want to say something like
that. So a fifth rounder, the Ravens picked up Gus Edwards as an undrafted free agent. Let's just, so if you're needing someone to cover for a couple of games, why give up an actual decent draft pick when you could probably find someone for a game or two?
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
We sort of go back and forward on this whole, is the running back position valued or not? And the league has actually been going to and fro in the last couple of years, because a couple of years ago it was no it's not, just bring in any guy, you know what I mean, do a committee, backfield, 3-4 people, doesn't bloody matter, just put them all on rookie deals and pound the shit out of them. They want, it doesn't matter. And it was you, Andrew, that was saying to me, you think it's swinging back. I had this conversation recently with one of you, about how you think it's now going to swing back to the feature back. Like say your Gurleys, your Saquons, the guy that is do everything in the backfield, and Kamara's.
I think it's without a doubt Fournette is the Jags guy when he's there, when he's fit, when he's healthy.
Yes.
And I think knowing that Yeldon had picked up an injury, I just don't think giving up a fifth round or whatever it was for Hyde, he definitely gave up something. I don't think that was the right decision, because Carlos Hyde, he's already came out and said he's unhappy with the lack of carries he's getting. So it feels like that organisation is actually starting to implode, because Jalen Ramsey's also, he tweeted recently saying, "You'll miss me when I'm gone."
Yeah, it's almost, and that was a follow-up report on that. I don't know if I put it in the chat about there was a serious possibility that Jalen may get moved this off-season. They may ship him on, which is lunacy in my eyes, because he's a talker. I fucking love people like this that talk shit. Especially in the middle of the game, the Bills, and he's like pointing at the side like, "You're trash." Pointing at people like going, "You're fucking trash."
He called out Josh Allen saying it was a wasted draft pick before the game.
He's done it all. He's done it all career. Let's be honest. He is the number one trash talker in the league. I think. I don't know if anyone.
He's up there. He's definitely up there.
But because his team aren't helping him back it up, and actually, I suppose he's partly responsible for that, because the defense has been nothing compared to last year. They have, position by position, you could argue that is the best defense in the league. On paper, right? And considering what they did last year, where last year it was really only Bortles that cost them it, you could probably argue. They had somebody else in a quarterback, they probably were going all the way.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Maybe.
Because the defense was that good. And then this year, that just defense hasn't performed anywhere near. The whole Saxonville name, no one's mentioned it this year. Because after the first couple of games, it was fairly apparent that they aren't, for whatever reason, the same defense.
And it's weird, because actually, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure Calais Campbell still has good stats. I think Yannick Ngakoue still has good stats.
Ngakoue's not too bad.
But I think the rest of them are just not
Just to go back to what we were saying earlier about the Cards front office, there's a guy that the Cardinals should have paid. Calais Campbell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was a strange one. That's another one that makes sense. So actually, I could be wrong here, and Steve, I'm looking at you to maybe correct me here, but didn't this happen with Tom Coughlin at the Giants, where towards the end of his tenure, that they all started to, just before Beckham was due to get paid, that they all started to have this disharmony? I'm sure that because he was too much of a disciplinarian, and
Yeah.
I can't remember specific cases.
I know where you're going with this now, but I'm trying to think if I can summarise it. But I know what you mean, because Coughlin used to have the whole, every clock was set 5 minutes before it should have been, and all kind of, and if you're late for a meeting, you were fined, and he wouldn't play in the first seat. I mean, he was brutal with him. He would literally sit anyone in the team. It didn't matter. Probably, maybe not Eli, but you think you get this feeling Eli wouldn't have done it anyway, which made his job easier. But you have this weird feeling. Eli rolled up late one morning. You think Coughlin would be like, "You're not playing the first series."
Yeah, I don't have the specifics off the top of my head, but I'm sure that this was a thing where like the Giants started to get into this complete disarray because of Tom Coughlin's really harsh stance on.
Well, it was like Eli Apple was falling out with. Somebody else in the defense.
Landon Collins,
and they were just chowing each other out. And, on the field as well as off the field. It was
I just wonder if this thing
is happening in Jacksonville.
Because he's the only thing that's changed from last year.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously loads of other things.
You've got Streaky Bortles, which is the big...
But that's always the same, though. That's not a change in dynamic.
Right enough, I've got you. Yeah, that's not a change.
So I just wonder, again, that could be something that, isn't working, and is he part of that?
Yeah, Callie Campbell, 51 tackles, 6 sacks. It's not horrendous, interior defence.
Solid numbers.
Absolutely, yeah. You'll have most teams in the league will take that. So it's not really him. Yeah.
And they obviously got rid of Miles Jack as well in Jacksonville, who's now at the Rams.
Wow. Did they?
No, Dante Fowler. Oh, right,
not Miles Jack. I'm thinking when the hell...
Dante Fowler, sorry, that was
my
bad.
I know I'm not paying attention this season as much as I normally do, but even I would have...
It was Dante Fowler, sorry.
Fowler. He hadn't played that much, so he wasn't much of an impact last season when it was Saxonville. It was everyone else, so actually losing him was neither here nor there.
But so the Jags look like they're in a really bad place. They sacked their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Bortles has been benched for Cody Kessler.
Yeah.
I look forward to Bortles coming in at halftime.
Have you got a betting slip this week?
I do.
Alright, cool.
Does include
Jacksonville?
Does include Jacksonville.
And is it against Jacksonville?
It does.
Yeah, even I'm calling that one, and I know jack shit about this. Right. What have we got, time-wise? How we doing?
Just move on to the next subject. Come on, Steve.
So we are, okay.
You're host.
Do it, Gav.
I didn't do it during.
I don't read this shit. Cool.
So the Jags have imploded.
Yeah. No, we finished it. So that's the top 6 teams that are due to hit the top of the draft. Right, quick one. Any one of those teams going to salvage themselves out of the top 5?
Raiders.
Do you think?
Raiders if they can.
Yeah, the Raiders are going to squeak out the top 5.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant trade down.
No, as in any of those teams going to improve enough through the back end of the
Giants
season.
Giants are the only one that got hope.
Giants were the ones that came to my head as well.
That's the only one that's got a chance. The rest are
there. If they're sensible and Shermer stops fucking around and just feeds Saquon
I
for the
hope
next
that
5 weeks.
the Raiders and Niners each pick up another win and Cardinals get number 1 overall pick. For Steve Kime to waste.
We're going to draft a quarterback.
Oh no.
What's interesting, just quickly on next year's draft, I don't know a whole lot about the players as of yet.
It's a defensive heavy draft.
It's a defensive heavy draft, but the quarterback talent they're saying is nowhere near the level of
this year
or the year before. So
there's certain draft classes that are far and above good for quarterbacks.
What they're saying is the 2 top prospects will probably go to Jags and Giants based on needs. Obviously, the Raiders are unlikely. There's not a whole load of teams that are going to jump up, but they're not ready. They're not as far forward as the last couple of classes. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Right, on a bit more of a serious subject then. So, Reuben Foster, by God, what a nightmare.
Idiot. So I know that before there was loads of questions around his character.
Yep.
Before he came into the league, he has multiple felonies.
Yeah.
Not just all for one thing either.
Just a hothead, just not being sensible.
So he was the 31st overall pick in the 2017 draft. The San Francisco 49ers had traded up from pick 34 in the second round up to 31, had a trade with Seattle. That 31st pick had originally been with Atlanta, and Seattle had traded with Atlanta for another pick. Niners moved up to take him.
And I think when that happened, a lot of people were saying, if this guy doesn't have his hot head, he's top 10 talent. He's a...
Yes.
He was part of
he's a defensive player out of Alabama.
Yeah.
We all know they are the defensive
production
college.
line. Yeah. That's just the Alabama production line.
Nick Saban in Alabama is the NFL's production line.
Yeah.
Just shoehorns 5 or 6 players in all the teams every year. No problems. All first rounds. It's mental. Yeah.
So I think at the time, everyone was like, 49ers...
got a win here. It made sense to jump up. There's only a couple of places. Didn't have to give up the house. Position of need. Well and truly.
Yep.
Yeah, all good. All made sense. Just keep a lid on him. And they didn't. And he just spiraled out of control effectively. So what is it? This is his 3rd issue this year, as in 2018 calendar year.
Yeah.
All for domestic violence? Or two of them?
2 domestic violence. I want to say one of them is for...
something else, but still.
Was it not something like planning or conspiring towards a robbery or something ridiculous like that?
Oh, wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sure it was something crazy like that. I can't remember.
It wasn't as good as the Alden Smith bomb threat at the airport. Fucking hell. Andrew's face just says it all. We will have to educate you this on Sunday.
Alden Smith.
Oh, Alden Smith. Right, so Alden Smith came into the league 2012-ish, 2011 maybe. He's kind of done like what Joey Buss did. Came in like a absolute bat out of hell. Sack. Daft numbers. I mean, rivaling JJ Watt in his prime sack numbers, and could have been on for like records had he just kept it together, and just could not sort his shit out off the field. And what the final straw for the 49ers was he called in a bomb threat at an airport. He had already done a few things. He didn't have drug suspension, I think. He'd already had a few problems before this. But
I've just Googled his name, and in the last 24 hours, he has agreed a plea deal in a domestic violence case. So.
Oh, no, has he got one of them as well? Fucking fine. Oh, Jesus.
Do you know what's
lost
crazy?
Everything. The Raiders took him because, of course, the Raiders are just the final pit stop.
The resting place for
team.
any
head case.
If you can't cut it, the Raiders, you've got no hope.
If the Raiders cut, you're fucked up.
And he got suspended again. It's just like, what a climb. Anyway, sorry, we've digressed. Who are we talking about?
Reuben Foster.
Reuben Foster.
Yeah, bloody Reuben Foster. Yeah, so gets busted again for domestic violence.
There was one of the previous domestic violence where the woman was then on camera saying she'd made it up, I think. But, of course, that wouldn't be like a domestic abuse victim to retract their statement. So.
If we jump back to the Ray Rice one. So, I don't know if you've seen the elevator video of him cleaning that out. It was horrible.
It's awful.
Horrible. His missus came out and tried to kind of defend it a little bit, to say, look, it was pretty much my fault, but still, don't like it.
Yep.
Frozen out of the league. No, didn't even get a look in after that. As soon as that became public, he's like, nah, no chance. Okay, there's nothing public about this, but it's a repeat offender, and it's for something that should not be, in my eyes, should not be tolerated, no questions asked.
Just on that, on tolerance, the NFL's biggest flaw is their tolerance.
Yeah.
For so many players get so many chances.
Was it John Brown, the kicker at the Giants? He was convicted of it, and then still played.
Yeah.
It's
right throughout the league.
There's a lot. It's horrible. It's really not good.
It's weird. What is it about the culture? Because we don't have that in our football. And if there is things that do go wrong in football here, but people get really castrated for it, and their careers do really go downhill. You don't get a lot of chances in our football compared to the NFL, and there would be uproar here if people done these sort of things. So I just wonder what it is about the culture within the organisations, within the leagues that accepts it.
Why are they tolerant?
Because it is acceptance. It's not even tolerance, it's acceptance of it, because it's repeat offenders. It's not...
It is, and it sits completely at odds with... Well, we were going to go down this route with this discussion anyway. But Colin Kaepernick, who has been blackballed for just standing for a cause or kneeling for a cause that he believes in.
So a peaceful protest.
Yeah, a peaceful protest. He's been totally blackballed by the entire league. And yet you can...
Kill someone.
Well, can you quite kill someone and come back? I'm not sure. The murderers
You're not going down the realist route, are you? Hey, Hall of Famer, shut up. Leave his name out of it.
We don't speak about Ray.
Yeah. No. But yeah,
you can be a serial domestic abuser.
Yeah.
and
teams will still keep
give you another chance.
Because the Redskins picked them up 48 hours after he hit
claimed them off waivers.
Claimed them off waivers. Now,
so they've got a woman beater to add to their child beater.
I'm not.
He's not going to defend it. Go ahead.
I'm not defending any decisions from that point of view.
Well, they have had to quite rightly come out in public very quickly and say there is a chance he never plays. They're just taking the rights for him just in case he can rehabilitate himself. Now, America is very much a land of second chances.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They do believe in a redemption story. And sometimes it works, and it's great to see. But it depends what you're redeeming yourself from, in my eyes. Because there's, you hit rock bottom, you hit drugs, financial crime, silly things like that. And if there's a reason for it, like all your family were killed or something, you know what I mean? If there's a reason you get it, and they brought themselves
I feel like
back,
we're going to end up too deep into...
Well, no, I'm going to go Josh Gordon. I get that teams want to take a chance on him because his demons...
Are marijuana.
But it's drugs, and therefore it's personal as well. It's not that he is just repeatedly ruining someone else's life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
think he has that all within his own control.
I know.
So I guess the only thing I'm thinking, right, and I really don't want this to get too far, and I'm really having to think about how I'm going to position this. But what's to say that this isn't because of things like the way that people are brought up, poverty, their lifestyles, that they do have these, and I'm not condoning it, I'm absolutely not condoning it, but is that a contributing factor?
Is it a cycle? It's as though
because it happens
growing up, therefore they
so at a very young age, if it's programmed in their brain, and I'm absolutely not saying that makes it okay, but what it is that a contributing factor because it happens so often in that league for it to be, it can't just be coincidence that these types of people, so you think of it as there's loads of documentaries on like Netflix now as well about like children that are put through like these, the parents that put them through like football camps all the way through their lives, and like they're forced into doing things that the brain doesn't understand or that they don't want to do, but they're forced to do it. So, are they manufactured in such a way that they can't comprehend what's right and what's wrong? Or it's not that they can't comprehend it; their ability to comprehend what's right and wrong can be, skewed. I feel like that's really good. I feel like a lawyer. But actually, so let's take it away from the emotional side to a football side. So I know that the Redskins, Doug Williams, our GM, spoke with every player that we've got from Alabama that played with Foster. So he spoke with Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, Ryan Anderson, Clinton Dix. And it wasn't actually until I read this statement that I was like, wait a minute, our defense is getting better. Our defense is getting better. Now we've got loads of players from Alabama. So it wasn't, that's a little side note, but I was like, wait a minute, we've just drafted everyone from Alabama. But yeah, so they interviewed all these players, made loads of calls about, Foster and whether they think this environment can support him. And I think part of that, having the number of teammates that he knows from college was a contributing factor into the decision of why they picked up the waivers for him, because he played with specifically Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne and Ryan Anderson. That was they all played together, so I think that was a big decision around why the Redskins made that decision from a football point of view. If it does turn out right, or that he's able to sort himself out, we've got a hell of a player to add to a really good defense. So I would get why they would take that risk. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you can understand the decision that has been made, especially in that league again when we've already said that.
It's the lack of consistency, the fact that a Ray Rice is frozen out, quite rightly, but Reuben gets another chance.
He's not being convicted. Is he being convicted for it? No. It's just a charge.
Right. And then you've got Big Ben and his problems. There is issues.
It is the league.
There is issues, and they're repeated issues.
And it's because, it comes down to acceptance and tolerance. Yeah. So the league doesn't have a firm standpoint. It has a standpoint that suits.
Yeah. But then why Kaepernick? Which is kind of
the
other side of this argument, which is why we were going to bring it up in the first place. Why is he being so frozen out? It's off. I just don't get it. It just not made no sense.
Yep. Don't get
anyway,
me.
that's probably about as deep and serious as we're ever likely to go in this.
No, I was actually looking at everyone's faces there, and I was like, "Holy shit, we're having a real conversation."
Rather than usual talk.
Deep, man. It's deep.
Anyway, so I suppose more than that, when I suppose that's all the Twitter chat is, that actually what this whole Reuben Foster thing has actually helped Kaepernick's collusion case way more than if they just let him. You know, you could sign him as a free agent, or you just let him. It's the whole claiming him off waivers.
Yeah,
that seems to have just put everyone's back right up.
Yeah. Again, from a football standpoint, if it gets sorted, I can't wait.
From a football point of view, it is what it is. It's a good football move.
I just wish it'd be something like DUI.
It isn't.
That's the problem. Do you know what I mean? It's what he's been accused of. It's the real bad taste in the mouth thing.
It isn't a football decision.
It shouldn't be. It should be. Yeah, it should be a different level on this.
Yeah, the problem is that it is though, because that full league.
But it can't. It shouldn't be.
You're right.
Shouldn't be a football decision.
I totally agree. There should be a zero tolerance for it, but there's a 97% tolerance for it, which is the opposite. Cool. So.
Right. So yeah, that's that one. Ben.
Well,
what a Ben. I can't figure out how to segue out of that. Anyway.
Well, I was just one quick other thing. Lev Bell came out saying that.
We don't talk about him again.
No, I think this deserves being talked about.
Yeah.
We're
going to mention without mention. We're going to talk about the person who we mentioned before.
Who shall not be named.
So the NFL.
Beldemort.
I think it was on the NFL.
Fucking is.
It was on the NFL's Instagram account, I think. Something about Andrew Luck. I can't even remember what it was.
3 games in a row of three consecutive touchdowns. Yeah,
passing touchdowns. 8 games in a row.
Yeah.
And Lev Bell just put "just imagine" with the looky eyes emoji.
Like, oh my god! Imagine.
That would be one of the best fits.
Oh, I think it's probably the best fit of who's going to be available, because the other teams that are going to likely get him are going to have rookie quarterbacks or things like that.
They're in full rebuild mode,
so
because they've got the cap space. Yeah,
we've already spoken about their O-line. They've only allowed 5 quarterback hits in their last 3 games.
So that's a great reason.
Andrew Luck hopefully is now over his injury.
Seems to be.
And he is in stunning form.
Yep.
They have a strong receiver core, so there isn't going to be a huge pressure on Bell, because they're not going to be able to put everything to stopping him, because they'll just punish you through the air.
T.Y. Hilton, one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league.
Yep.
Definitely doesn't get the love that he deserves.
It's going to make his game better.
You've got Eric Ebron, who's having a great year.
What a season.
Jack Doyle, who's another good tight end. It would be an incredible fit. It could be enough to take them all the way.
All the way,
yeah.
And I think, in fact, on top of all the things we just mentioned, Frank Reich, the head coach, is an offensive mastermind and was a lot behind what the Eagles done. Yeah. So, I think it's if the Colts can make it work, that'd be awesome.
Yep.
Yep, I do like it. So, is that about Beldemort for now then?
Beldemort is done.
So we're not going to make any more promises about not speaking about anyone ever again, because shit like this happens.
We just can't do it. We can't do it.
Because stuff like this happens. You're like, oh my god, we have to speak about it.
That's our misdemeanor.
Call back, I like it.
So Beldemort. I feel like if you ever need someone that's going to put words towards a name that doesn't fit, like Dwarf Wrath, Beldemort, I'm your guy. If you ever need
an awful nickname that doesn't fit.
I am your guy.
Gav can hook you up. Yeah. Just hit us on the Twitter. Just give us your name, right? Yeah. And then Gav is just going to fire
your name and any word.
Yep. And the name's going right back at you. And that will be your new nickname.
It will literally just be your name in front of the
word. What did you call me? What did you call me before we recorded today? Late Wrath.
Late Wrath.
Right.
Yeah.
Late Wrath, because it pitched up like 5 minutes after you used it.
Yeah.
No,
right.
So how are you going with the accumulators over the last few weeks, Gav?
Well, £30 staked in total, 0 in terms of return.
But I am progressively worse though, is it not?
No, I'm so frustrated.
You're like 1 win away from the first one.
So every week it's been one team that's let it down, and each time it's been when I've picked someone to win outright. So every time I've picked a handicap, which is harder, so someone plus or minus points,
they've all come in.
They've all landed.
Yeah.
It's when I'm saying X will beat Y.
You're 15 out of 18.
Yeah, I'm. Which
if
is
you go on the individual, if you put on all these bets individually, rather than accumulating them week on week, you were probably quids in.
You would have profit.
Yeah.
How much is? I don't know.
It's not your whole season's worth in 3 weeks, but yeah.
So yeah.
What are you going for this time then?
This week, I do love a lot of these. I love most of them. That's why I picked them. But this week,
I'm gonna have a guess. New Orleans over Dallas.
No, I'm not touching it. I actually said to Andrew off air, I fancy the Cowboys.
Off air.
Yeah, we say off air.
Off air, offline.
We're all cool like that.
Hey, we're recording, so it was off air. If I want to sound serious, it's serious. Okay. I said that I actually fancy the Cowboys to cause the Saints trouble tonight.
Oh, no. Really?
I do.
Dear. I'll be eating my words tomorrow morning.
I don't know why.
I just think a dome stadium.
It's not even
Breeze is just going to make a mockery of them.
I don't know. The Cowboys' defense is underrated as well. But
Saints O-line is one of the best in the
I don't know.
And the Saints defense is tremendous as well. And Dak is still
I don't know if the defense is tremendous. I don't know if it's tremendous. But anyway, off topic because it's not really relevant to what we're discussing. So this week, the first bet, which I absolutely love.
You haven't said that before.
Is the Buffalo Bills to score 14.5 points against the Miami Dolphins.
So that's it.
All they have to do,
as long as they score 2 touchdowns and something else.
15 points in the game that bet has landed. I love it because...
Fucking hell, yes.
The Dolphins aren't that good. I know it's in Miami and they tend to play better in Miami, but the Bills are actually improving. Josh Allen last week was great against the Jags, and I think that the Dolphins are there. I fancy the Bills to actually win this. So to win it, there has been a couple of times where the Dolphins have had like 10-6 scores, but I do think the Bills will get...
the odds on that as an individual selection?
4-9, so 1-2 almost. So for every £20...
Andrews took it. Done. I've just put money on that.
Every £20 that you would put, you would get £10 back. So approximately. But I think it's a really good bet. I don't think the Dolphins are... They're turnover prone. Brock Osweiler's a quarterback, so who knows what you'll get from him.
Tannehill's back, is he not?
Tannehill's back, so he is, yeah.
But yeah, he's back off an injury, but same argument. You just don't know what you're getting.
And yeah, the way that Josh Allen played against the Jags, and I know they're in a bit of disarray, but I do really like that bet. So yeah, the next one was the Cleveland Browns, who are playing... Houston, yeah. But the Cleveland Browns plus 8.5 points. So the Browns start 8.5 points ahead.
So that means even if Houston win by a touchdown, that bet comes in.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't see
I'm starting to get this.
I do not see... The Texans aren't I know they had a good week last week, but the Titans have sort of fell apart. The Browns are actually...
Browns' defense is solid.
solid.
The Browns are trending upwards as well.
So plus 8.5 points.
Texans are on an 8-game winning streak.
It's not about... I don't think that the Browns will win. It's about the value that comes with that bet.
Yeah,
in fact, you can get Houston via touchdown as well. It still comes in. Yeah.
The Browns can still make the wild card.
Yeah.
So, and they are trending the right way too. I think it'll be a close game.
Playing the last couple of weeks as well.
I think it'll be a close game. I don't see there being a lot in it, and that's why I like the Browns plus 8.5, and the odds in that is similar to the Bills bet. So it's 4-7. It's slightly better. So yeah, the next one that I really liked was the Seahawks to score over 23.5 points against the 49ers. The Seahawks are actually a really high scoring team.
While we're on the Seahawks, did you see Chris Carson's
the flip
play and then keep running? Awesome. That was incredible.
Did that ever get reviewed or called back? Because on review, I thought his knee just glanced the floor on the landing.
I don't
know. I didn't see any more about it. I just seen the play. It's amazing though. Just battered and full flip right in his feet.
Can I just rewind to the Browns?
Yeah.
Njoku's touchdown.
That
was awesome.
And what was it? Demarius Randall, who got the interception and then passed it to Hugh Jackson. The Bengals sideline.
I love that. I love that the Browns have came out and basically went, "Fuck you, Hugh Jackson."
Yeah.
Because Mayfield called him out. We've gone a little bit off topic, but didn't we say though that Greg Williams did have a chance of turning this around just with the way that he is, and they have turned it around.
People are responding,
which is awesome. So yeah, back to the bet. The Seahawks at home to the 49ers. All the Seahawks have to do is score over 23.5 points. So 4 touchdowns wins it.
Yep.
I really fancy that because the
3 and a field goal wins it.
3 and a field goal wins it. Yeah.
That's very nice. I like it.
So I think that the Seahawks are a good bet there. Which then takes me on to the Broncos. We never spoke about our ascending teams this week.
Nah,
we'll do that later.
Yeah, we've no time. People are getting bored out there.
Okay.
Andrew's getting bored. He's hit the hour mark. He's like,
Yeah, so the Broncos to beat the Bengals. The Bengals, Andy Dalton is not playing. AJ Green is 50-50. If AJ Green doesn't play, Dalton doesn't play, there is no way that the Bengals can win that. Marvin Lewis, Hugh Jackson will both be getting dole checks together because they're both gone. The Broncos have got something to play for. Bengals look like their season's done. So I really like the Broncos just to win that game. But these are the bets that I'd be losing when I just like someone to win. And the final bet is the Panthers to beat the Buccaneers. Panthers have had a bit of a slippery slope recently, but I fancy them to bounce back. I know I said that last week. So if they lose, I would have lost 2 out of 3 bets on the Panthers. To be the Buccaneers,
you'll avoid them for the rest of the season.
Jameis Winston is turnover prone. The Panthers' defense is good. The Panthers are still in the hunt, so they need to get back on track ASAP. So the Panthers just need to win, and at their odds of 1-2, I love it because I can't see the Bucks beating them. And so £10 on that full bet pays back £87.60.
What?
Yeah,
5.
It's a big
5
one.
bets.
It's a big one.
Yeah, I like it.
Not bad, because sometimes you've had 6, have you not?
Yeah.
Last week, I was 6. And then it got you £80 back off.
So this one's 5.
Even 5.
So just to recap, Bills to score over 14.5 points. I would probably say that's my bet of the week. The Browns plus 8.5. The Panthers just to win. The Broncos just to win. And the Seahawks over 23.5 points. So yeah, that's the bets for this week. I really do like it this week, and I know I've said that every week. But the one
thing, full Jerry Maguire on Sunday night, Monday morning. Show me the money.
I do think that with the NFL being the crazy league that it is, that you always have to make sure you bet responsibly. So don't stake anything that you can't afford to lose, and that is the serious ending to today's podcast.
Very serious podcast.
And if it wins, we'll be giving away the winnings.
Yes. Up until the first one, so until we win, it will be given to a random person on Twitter. So anyone that retweets will be picking at random. Once
the last one's won, we'll put the bet up on Twitter. If you retweet that tweet, we'll leave it up there for a couple of days, and
then we'll just PayPal you the money.
Ching ching, money for nothing. It's because we're good guys.
Yeah. We had serious chat. We're giving away money. Have we turned a corner? Steve, are you going to do drugs at the weekend?
What? No.
Just so you can get arrested.
I don't even want an insinuation of that. Offended me greatly. I don't know if that comes across as half sarcastic and people actually think I'm some kind of weird buggy now. This is backfiring spectacularly. I'm going to shut up now. Right, Gav, you remember where we are on the socials? You going to sign off?
No,
damn. Hey, Andrew.
Why would you ask me that?
Find us at the
AF Cast. Say no.
Find us at the AF Cast on Twitter, the American Fitbaw Cast on Facebook. This has been our 25th episode.
Yay,
quarter of a century. So thank you for sticking with us. If you have.
Can I get a gold jacket?
We're not quite Hall of Fame yet.
Oh, shit.
We've all done 24 out of the 25. We're not perfect. None of us are.
Bye week.
True quarterbacks that. Yeah.
Bye week.
It's all about the bye week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you once again for listening to us, and we'll speak to you next week.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.